Real quick before we dive in, if you're into horse racing insights from top trainers like Mark Casse, make sure to subscribe to Trackside Profits. Also send out free weekly picks. Just hit the link in the description. And if you want the best of the best, members get exclusive expert picks every weekend, like one from Gustavo Delgado Jr., trainer and mage, who gave us a real hot tip for this Friday at Gulfstream. Between La Cara's 2 Grade 1 wins and Nitrogen's huge dirt performance after the race came off the turf, you got two of the most exciting 3-year-old fillies in the country. Has Nitrogen's versatility made you rethink the path with her, or is she still headed back to the grass?
Well, right now I plan on running her back in the grass stake at Saratoga. I think it the Belmont Oaks,
Uh-huh.
and then
Would you be ever consider running her on dirt after that huge
well,
performance
yeah,
there?
if she as long as everything's good, we'll run there, and then possibly the Alabama.
Okay, and Mark, could you tell me then, with a horse like that, was that something? I mean, obviously it wasn't planned that the rain came and it came off turf, but how do you know that a horse is going to be able to run on the dirt like that?
Well, you
That's
don't
generally a
really know
turf
for
horse.
sure. You don't know for sure. But it was kind of a weird circumstance. I had sent Nitrogen to Woodbine to because I thought she was a grass filly, get her ready for the Natalma. She runs third in the Natalma, then she runs third in the Breeders' Cup. And we win her in South Florida, so it's kind of limited to races we can run in. I didn't feel like she would like Gulfstream because Gulfstream's very speed oriented. And I didn't want to run her against La Cara. So La Cara went to Tampa and ran in the can't think of the name of it, but she won the stake at Tampa. And then I kept Nitrogen on the grass. Well, it's hard to take a filly off like Nitrogen that's won four stakes in a row. But I thought the other day when it came off, it was a good time to try her. She ran an unbelievable number. She usually runs around a 7 on the thoroughgraphs in her turf.
Mhm.
She ran a 2 the other day in the mud.
That's
So
incredible. That's she's one of my favorite horses. I'm a horse player, as you know, and won a lot of money on Nitrogen this year. She's been a great horse, and that kind of brings me to a question that I have about placing these horses. And I think one of the things that the fans overlook is how much strategy goes into placing the horses. You've won too many big races to really not be incredibly sharp at picking the spots. When you decide to run a horse, what's your process? Are you studying the form? You talked about the thoroughgraph. Are you trying to, figure out the pace, speed figures? What are you exactly doing to place your horses in a spot where they have a good chance to win?
well, you're right. I'm a chess player as well. It's one of the sports I do enjoy. And I look at training horses as a chess play. Uh, Sometimes, you're seeing me make moves that not don't necessarily aren't that relevant right at the time. La Cara was a good example. La Cara won. I can't think of the race is escaping me at Tampa. The name of it. Can't think of the darn name of it, and I
Well,
should
she's
know
won
it.
so many races.
Well, and
She got the acorn last
I've
time. She
won
ran
that
a good
race
cheer.
before.
Yeah.
Um, but so she won that race, and I had an option of I really wanted to get to the Ashland. It was very important to the farmers to win the Ashland. So I had to make a decision. That was ship her out, go to New Orleans or go to Oakland or New York, or stay at Gulfstream and run going a mile. And I knew the mile wouldn't suit her. And I told the farmers, I said, more than likely she's going to get beat in the Donut Dale. But I think given the timing, it'll set her up for the Ashland. And that's why we did what we did. And so you're right. A lot of times, when I'm trying to keep some of my better horses separated, sometimes you have to run them against each other, and the owners are okay with that. but in the case of Nitrogen, it would have been tough for me to take Nitrogen off the grass after her running so well. Now, given the way she performed Saratoga, we're going to give her another try on the dirt. And probably I like the Alabama. I like the 1.25 mile for her, and she was very impressive.
And then as far as your other big filly right now, La Cara, what's the plans for her going forward?
Well, she just won the Acorn around 2 turns. So she's going to come back and she's going to run in the, I'm trying to think, was it the coaching club?
Yeah, I think that was what I saw in
So she's going to come back and run in the coaching club, and then hopefully a good performance, there will get her to the Alabama. The thing about La Cara is better going 2 turns for the most part, because you just remember the farther we go, the slower the early pace is.
Mhm.
And she likes to be up on the pace. She wants you to grab her and let her kind of feel like she's the boss. So the shorter you go, the tougher it is to do that. And that's why she got beat in the Devona Dale. There was a fair amount of speed,
Mhm.
and she didn't like that. I don't know if she has to be on the lead, but she likes to be very close to it. And La
Right.
Cara likes her performance last year at Saratoga when she broke her maiden was impressive. She likes Saratoga, and Saratoga is a unique racetrack. Not every horse likes Saratoga. Sandman likes it as well, which is why I'm kind of looking at the Jim Dandy and then the Travers for him, so he can get 2 starts over the Saratoga course.
That brings me to a question that I've always been curious about logistically. You have horses, you're a Hall of Fame trainer in 2 different countries. You have horses running all over. How hard is that to coordinate? I guess you have a team that does that. How hard is it when you finally decide where to point a horse, just to make that all work to get, you have the big names, but you have a huge barn and you have horses running all over. How do you make that all work?
Well, it's a huge team. I have a guy named Mitch Downs. Mitch has been with me. I've been training 47 years, and Mitch has been with me 47 years. Mitch is kind of air traffic control. We have a way we do it, and Mitch knows, if I say I want this horse to get to here or that horse to be there, it's a daily deal. It takes hours and hours of planning. But he's the one that I kind of give him what I want to do. He makes it happen. So every place is unique. We have assistants in Saratoga. We have horses at Belmont. We have horses at Churchill Downs. We have horses at Ellis Park. We have horses in South Florida that are getting ready to go to Colonial. And all those assistants have been with me for years, and they all have responsibilities. They know what um, they know what each horse is doing, and they report to me every day. We have a big report that comes. It comes to me. It just came in. I haven't read it yet because I'm here talking with you, but I'll go over. It'll take me a couple hours, and I'll decide what everybody's going to do tomorrow. And in that report, also, it shows our target dates for races coming up. For instance, right now we have a couple horses at Churchill that are going to run the first part of Saratoga. So I'll say, okay, I want to have them in Saratoga 10 days before the race. Well, Mitch will then see that and work on getting that done. And then, of course, we got to make sure that we have the room to put them there. And sometimes that means another horse. We do a lot of shipping from New York to Toronto. We do a lot of shipping from Kentucky to New York. We have a horse, Strong Quality, who was at Churchill, but the races didn't go, so we entered him in New York, and he's on a van as we speak, heading for New York to run on Thursday. So a lot of moving parts, a lot of key people, and in all honesty, I think especially over the last 10 years with all our technology. I'll watch in a morning. Now, Monday isn't very busy, but on a weekend, I'll probably watch 50 horses work on videos. We also have a thing, it's called SLEP, SLEIP. It's an app, and it all the horses that work or run have this done to them. And then I get a report. It goes through Stockholm, Sweden, and it shows me if the horse has any issues, where it is. And then I analyze that and decide how we're going to proceed. So if all of a sudden this horse has been fine all along and now it's showing that he's off left front, well, then we'll do more research, try to figure out why that horse is off left front. And if we can, we fix it. If we can't, if it's not a short-term fix, then that horse would then come to our training center. I would tell Mitch, I need that horse in Ocala. He would make arrangements. The horse would come to Ocala. And then we have a veterinarian team that goes over horses every day. And we determine, if they need a month off, if they need 3 months off, 6 months off. So there's never an off day, really.
So technology has really advanced the sport since you've been around it your whole life. Your dad was a trainer, your sons are trainers. Technology has really, I guess, enhanced the sport for the good, you'd say?
I think so. It's definitely made my job easier because I can remember, I've been doing it 47 years. You pick up the phone and say blah blah, or now we get texts, we get videos. I can watch races. I mean, I could be flying on a plane from Florida to California and watch 3 or 4 of my horses run while I'm on the plane. We couldn't have done that 20 years ago. So yes, that's definitely it allows me to have a better idea of what's going on. And the biggest thing, and I'm proud of it, I think we're very organized.
Mhm.
And we try to stay on top of everything. And what makes us strong is some outfits, concentrate in one area. And if the horse doesn't fit in that area, it's a bit of a liability, I would say. If that horse isn't performing well, say in Kentucky, that horse, I may send that horse to Woodbine to try the Tapeta. Or as I just said to you, we enter a horse and he's in Kentucky, but the race doesn't go. Now we enter him in New York and we put him on a van to our other hub. So we're always we can look at all. When I look for a race for a horse, I may look at 5 different racetracks. And so that's a luxury, and it's what makes us successful. Sometimes being able to have the horse in the right place, where if we only had one spot, we would be limited to that. That's what makes California so tough. You get out to California, and it's why California has struggled so much, is you get out there and you're kind of, if it doesn't work in California, you got nowhere to go. If you're sitting in say Lexington or Louisville, I can go to New York. New York is 8 hours. Toronto's 8 hours. Maryland is 8 hours. Florida is 14 hours. So it's easier to move.
Well, that's a great point, Mark. I'm based here in Southern California. Santa Anita, I would consider my home track. I get out there quite a bit. And, in just the last couple of years, we've seen Hollywood Park closed. We've seen Golden Gate Fields closed. And, there's always rumblings about, with the advent of all the online gambling, maybe some of the horse tracks like Santa Anita closing and just running without fans. One of the things that's really hurt Santa Anita, I know a couple of years ago, was some of the injuries on the horses. And I heard you talking about the surface up there at Woodbine. I've seen some interviews with you in the past before where you're a real advocate of that Tapeta surface, not really running on the dirt. Is that still your stance? I know that Santa Anita talked about switching surfaces last year, and I'm sure there's a lot of politics that goes into it with the trainers. But what's your stance on that? Is it better for the horses?
Um, I think on a good day, they're equal. On a bad day, and when you have bad weather, then they're superior. It can handle the water much better. Now I have to say, in the last couple years, things have gotten much better for the horse. Santa Anita's done a tremendous job. Delmar does a tremendous job. I love it there. Um, my wife, if I said to my wife, Tina, let's move, she would say, okay, let's move tomorrow. But what makes us strong is what I just told you, and that is being able to move horses around, and we can't do that there. It's too isolated. It's because where it is. So to answer your question, I still think synthetic's great, and like I said, on a good day, on a bad day, it's superior. Where it really helps, and I don't think you lose a lot of races in California because of rain. I know you do have a few little rainy seasons, but you go and you sit and you look at Saratoga, and when it rains and it has to go to the dirt, you lose so many scratches because the turf horses can't really run on the dirt. You won't hardly see any scratches when you can go to synthetic. So that's another thing that helps. But Belmont's putting in a new synthetic track, so that'll be interesting to see. Gulfstream has it. The problem with Gulfstream is they put it in as a kind of a afterthought, and I'm not saying they weren't right in doing it, but they're very limited to their distances. You can either run 5/8, 5.5, or a mile and 70 yards. Well, that isn't, those aren't ideal. I do know that, I mean, Belmont's going to be able to run 3/4 of a mile. They're probably going to either be able to run a mile, definitely a mile and 16. I don't know if they'll be able to run a mile. They may be able to run a mile if they do like they do at Keeneland and Hot Springs, where they have 2 wires. They could probably run a mile. You started in the middle of the stretch because you got to have some run to the first turn, So even though I like the synthetic at Gulfstream, it's not the same as we have at Woodbine. Woodbine's nice. We can run 3/4, 7/8, a mile and a 16. So we can run a lot of different distances. The other nice thing about synthetic and at Woodbine is we get to train on it every day. Training on it, especially with your turf horses, they like it a lot. And I think it keeps them happier and sounder.
Well, Mark, I really appreciate your time. I know you're super busy, and I got a ton of questions. I don't want to take up your day, but I guess I could finish up with, you got a lot of really big names right now. Sandman was such a fan favorite in the Derby. We talked about your 2 fillies that you have, but could you tell us and some of our viewers what if you have any under the radar horses? Maybe if I was lucky enough to come back and talk to you at the end of the summer, who do you think we would be talking about?
I have a filly right now. She's only started once. She has a tremendous pedigree, and I think she could be a real superstar. Her name is America the Great, and she's only ran one time. She's a 2-year-old. I have another 2-year-old called Ewing that I like a lot. Vernon Valley, she broke her maiden in New York first time out, but she still has to learn what she's doing. I have Strategic Risk, who broke his maiden impressively. We were very fortunate last year. We had a very strong crop of 2-year-olds. Those 2-year-olds have now become very good 3-year-olds. We have Mibago, we have La Cara, we have Sandman, Dream On, we have Nitrogen, Vixen, and what nobody's seen lately, but we finished first, second, and third in the Natalma, the grade one Natalma, and we had Vixen ran second, Nitrogen ran third. The filly that won it, her name's And One More Time.
Mm-hmm.
And she got hurt after that race. You haven't seen her, and she's coming back. So her name's And One More Time. She beat those two fillies. So that says a lot there. So yeah, we have a good young crop. We'll see. You never know. It's who moves forward, who doesn't. But I'm excited about the rest of 2025.
Well, two-time Hall of Fame trainer Mark Casse, you kind of own Canada up there, and you've stormed your way down to the U.S. I hope you bring some horses out to Santa Anita soon. I'd love to see you out there and your fleet of great horses.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate your time, Mark. Thanks a lot.